Okay, it's part 2. We're gonna get the headers wrapped, we're gonna get the exhaust installed, and we're gonna start it. And we're gonna make it happen. So without further ado, let's start wrapping. Another one done. Got all that wrapped around. I think I'm actually gonna skip. Yeah, I'm gonna skip this part right here. There will be obviously a hot spot, but I don't know if I really changed my mind. I am gonna do it. Whew. Okay, we put a little piece on there. On a metal tie. So here we go. I think it's turned out actually better than I thought. I don't know where you know where I learned how to do this? It kind of was reminiscent of when I used to work at a bike shop and I was wrapping 10-speed road bike handlebars. No wonder this was so easy. It's pretty tight. I don't have any gaps. It was pretty tight around here, so I'm just gonna, when I put the O2 sensors back on, you know what? Yeah, when I put the O2 sensors back on, I'll just make sure to sandwich it on real tight, clear off anything else, but it's another one done. On to the next. So here they are, and they really turned out really nice. Really nice. So super happy with how it turned out. I have a few more on this one than that one. I just kind of overdid it because I was like, didn't want it to come undone. I might put 1 or 2 more on that one, but they're just kind of drying because I did wet it before I put them on, just like they say to. But yeah, they're in really good shape. So, okay, wrap is done. Now that the wrap is wet still, let that dry out, spray it with silicone tomorrow. And that's where we'll take off. Okay, we're back. I got a delivery, which is exhaust manifold gaskets. So let's tear this sucker open. Here they are, which look identical to the other ones I've got. So just original equipment. Mall. Actually, I'm not even trying to pronounce that, but I think that's right. And they look identical to the ones that were on there before. So very likely they are the same exact manufacturer. But these ones, I don't see any branding on them. So, gonna put those on. Okay, so we got both those heat shields back on. I was able to tighten them back up. I essentially just, these are like rivets on either side here. So I just put those in a vise and they snugged up really good. I also spaced this out like with 2 washers. And so it's not gonna touch this anymore because I think that might have been some of the rattling that we were having. But we got that squared away. So next, I think I'm gonna put the front headers on. And the reason why I'm starting with the front is because I can't remember which header goes where. I also put a new clamp on here and I tightened it down real tight. I think it was better than the last time I did it, so hopefully that'll fix it. I'm gonna wipe down everything so I can at least tell if it's working or not. Okay, so we got all these bolts tight, all those nuts tight on there. That looking pretty good. We're gonna adjust that heat shield again because it's got a little wobbly again. I got a little ahead of myself and I went ahead and dropped in the other one. But again, it just kind of goes in sideways with the headers 1, 2, 3, and then the down pipe or the down part of it coming this way. And you just kind of tuck it in down, push and rotate, and it goes right down in. And there it is. It goes straight down in there. So that's definitely the way to do it. It's going to drop in the gasket and tighten up the bolts. So I'm really fighting with these heat shields. Let me go into the car, show you what I'm dealing with. So I've got this heat shield here, and I've got it kind of bent and up out of the way. You can kind of see the ratchet handle there, which is holding it up. Because if you can see, gosh, I don't think it's focusing in the right spot, but essentially there's a little clip in here. It's got some threads on it, and there's a bolt that goes through over here, through this plate to attach the heat shield. And then once I get that there, then this comes down to this bracket right here, which connects to another heat shield, which goes down here. So yeah, so that's what I'm fighting with right now. I think I'm gonna be able to get this clipped on here. I had a good breakthrough just with the handle kind of propping it up. So I'm gonna keep working on that and see where I get, but making good progress. I think the rest of the heat shields honestly are way more accessible than that one. So we're gonna see if we can get this thing in there and go from there. So I'm making a ton of progress, but I'm doing a really bad job of recording it. So let's catch you up. So we've got heat shields in. They're all bolted in and snug except for the one on the bottom, but the upper and side heat shields are in. On the back here, I've got that panel put back in and the heat shield. Also on that heat shield, you'll notice we've got some gold. So just a little bit of that reflective fiberglass, kind of gold foil, just to kind of help with some of the heat that we get in the engine bay. So put that on that panel just to hopefully keep a little bit more out of the trunk. It's probably not enough to do very much, but it's something. Now we got, again, I mentioned I got the upper heat shield on and all that's bolted in. I just need to zip tie that. Again, I don't know what's going on with me today. I'm not recording. I'm like forgetting. I just think I just want to get it done. I've been working on this way too much. Okay, got it. That feels pretty good. All right, let's get underneath the car. Oh, no. Let's go in the back seat and start working on that. This one has all four. Okay, there we go. Okay, back seat is complete. That actually, honestly, feels really good to have that all done. So you're gonna notice that there's a seat out of the car. The seat rail handle broke. And so I couldn't move the seat back in order to eventually be able to start the car. So I took a bit of a detour to try to solve this, to try to fix it. And it essentially took me about an hour to be able to unhook the springs so that I could slide the seat back forward and backward to unbolt it. So we're taking a quick detour to fix the seat rails. Now, some people know that the Evoras have kind of a wobbly seat rail issue over time. They just kind of wear out and they don't work very well. So I've actually replaced my seat rails with Recaro ones. Actually kind of nice because they bolt up to these Recaro Sportster seats just fine, but they don't fit perfectly. I'll show you what I mean. So on the bottom of the seat, you'll notice that the rails would normally sit flush here, but the seat bracket pushes up in order to get the seat as low as humanly possible in this car, because you don't have a lot of headroom. And so when you put the seat rail on here, let me try to find the mounting location. Actually, so when you put the seat rail in the mounting location, you'll notice that that does interfere just a slight bit. Now, everything else mounts up to the car great. These two mounting holes on either side of the seat rails mount perfectly. There's no problem, and if anything, they actually work better than the factory rails, which, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure what car those came out of, but they seem to be a bit universal because they've got a couple different bolt holes on them. Anyway, neither here nor there, but you have to grind down the rail in order to do it. Now, in my situation, it bent and it wasn't able to engage that, so I had to disconnect the rails, which was really hard to do. But anyway, we got it. So on my seat rails, and get it to focus right, we had to make this here. But what happened is it somehow got bent. So this was bent really far in on both sides, wasn't able to engage, and I couldn't slide the seat rails. So I'm bending it back. I'm gonna do some finagling of the holes here a little bit, do some twisting so it's sitting there right, and then also grind this down a little bit further here so I've got better clearance, because I think that was actually my issue. Also gonna do some preliminary bending so it stays outward. But it is a solution, so that way you can replace these with Recaro seat rails as opposed to the factory ones. This is a pretty good solution because Recaro seat rails are about $150 US at the moment. Although, honestly, I remember when they were $100 and I remember when they were 75. Neither here nor there. But this does solve the problem, and they are much more cost effective than the factory ones. Factory ones range for, they're a lot of money. I mean, you could spend $600 to $1,800 or $600 to $1,200 trying to fix your factory ones. Honestly, I think this is a good enough thing to do, but I do want to try to figure out how to modify this in a better way in the future to create a permanent fix that is not $1,200 for a full factory replacement. It's kind of ridiculous. So anyway, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to get the Dremel out and trim that down a bit, put it back in the car, and then get back to the exhaust. So. And there's the problem. It's not wide enough. That was the problem the whole time. So we gotta all right. So we got to do some more bending here. What I'm finding is that I think this bar is too wide. And so what's happening is it's pinching and it's actually coming in. So this is bending in this way, the whole thing. This is doing the same thing. So what I'm going to do, you can see as I push here, it starts to bend out. I'm going to put a bend right in the middle of this bar, and so it kind of comes in and out. So that way it narrows it a bit. That's it. Okay, I think we got it. That is quite the bend, as you can see, and it is not perfectly straight, but it's pretty good. So it should be able to grab both, or even just be able to pull up on it, although in hindsight I probably should have gone this way, but I think this is at least a good proof of concept. All right, I got it. So if you do need to fix your seat rails, maybe this will give you some hints or maybe some guidance on how to fix it yourself. For me, I did it this way. It might not work for you. Definitely talk to, your mechanic and see what they have to say. It's in. The slider works. So that was a ton of time that I spent on that. So I'm gonna get back to working on the rest now. What a pain. Oh, I can't believe it. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the exhaust now that we had that little detour, and we'll get this exhaust on and actually fire this thing up. Okay, so I'm back onto the car. I have got the mid pipe in. I didn't hit the record button, but I've got a few of the fasteners just kind of loosely in here, just to kind of get everything kind of placed. Looks like there's a bit of warpage on some of this, so you've got to kind of tighten it. So I've got to get that fastener in. I've got to get that one in. For this guy, I've got to take this heat shield back off. I can't quite reach around in there to do that. And then I've also got all the plugs for the O2 sensors here as well. We'll need to plug those in, which I've got them nicely wrapped up in a new heat shielding. So that should help. And yeah, I'm also thinking this runs right up against this right here. So I might actually take this back off. I think I'm gonna put some heat shielding tape right along here, just to kind of give us some extra breathing room. Also, I've got the kind of exhaust mount here, and then essentially we'll put the cat here, and then the new exhaust will go in. So we're making some good progress, and we're gonna get back to it. Okay, let's take a quick tour. So we got those bolts all tightened up. We're gonna put that heat shield back on. We got some heat shielding underneath the transmission, which I think will help. Got a new heat shield for the O2 sensors, and I double checked the video to make sure that these are going back in the same spot, and I had marked the plugs. That's all tucked up under there. Put some additional heat shielding on the oil pan, just because the exhaust runs right up against it, so there should be something. These bolts are nice and tight. We got the hanger, the exhaust over here. So next step, I'm gonna put that heat shield back here. Gonna bend this guy back to the back to the way it was as best we can. And gosh, we are ripping through this. Totally gonna have this done tonight. So I'm gonna put that heat shield back on, and then the next step's gonna be we're gonna move over there to put the muffler on. Sweet. And the catalytic converter. And catalytic converter on, all bolted up nice and tight. Now, muffler. This is going quick. One thing after another. I'm so flippin' excited to fire this guy up. All right, we're getting to the point here. We're ready to put the muffler in. So essentially I'm gonna put these little pieces in on either side, so that way it's going to be a little bit easier to kind of finagle the muffler on. So we're going to start doing that. All right, so got it on. Obviously that took a bit of doing with the impact gun, but I got the muffler on, so we're gonna hook up the vacuum line over here, which we have new vacuum line because this one really isn't gonna reach. We need something a bit longer. So I'm gonna put that on, and we're gonna fire this thing up and hear what it sounds like. It's time to fire it up. I'm a little nervous. I'm gonna grab the keys. I'm gonna do it. Okay, so everything should be tight, should be on there. Obviously I'm not done yet, so I gotta put the sway bar back on and all the panels and stuff, but I gotta hear it. Got the vacuum line hooked up and everything, so I'm gonna set it down and see what happens. Celebration cookie!
You want to use that hand?
It's fine.
Okay.
Successful test fire up. Vacuum actuator works. Sounds halfway decent. Obviously we still need to like warm up the whole car, get it hot, let everything break in. I am still a little nervous that something's going to come loose. I mean, I tightened everything really tight. I'm a little nervous on some of those exhaust manifold nuts. I mean, I tightened them as tight as I could, so hopefully they stay on. But yeah, it's working pretty good. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and start putting on some of the other brackets, sway bars. I've got those upgraded bushings, which, weren't necessarily needed to be upgraded, but I did the front ones a couple months ago, so I might as well just do the rears while I'm at it, got everything off. And put the diffuser brackets on. We're gonna put it in the driveway, let everything heat up, get the fire extinguisher ready just in case. Enjoy this thing. Hopefully I can take this for a drive tonight. Just go out there and hear it rip. It already sounds so cool. Ah! It's exciting. I am missing 2 bolts, and I have no idea where they are. Ah, I think those were those 2 right there. I think I don't have any more. All right, let's keep tightening, and then maybe we go find some around here. Oh, it's crooked. Well, it's crooked a little bit. I think that's what we get. It's off about a 1/2 inch. And I think it has to do with the fact that it wants to shift over, but it can't because I'm using the factory cat and not the mid pipe without a cat. Now, the catalytic converter on the factory one is on the headers. So that's kind of where you've got your O2 sensor. But on this one, the catalytic converter is on the pipe that's after the collector. Everything comes together. That's where they've got the cap, which means it's shifted over a bit. So if we want to fix this, I'm going to have somebody cut out and possibly, no, you can't put a slip joint there because it'll start leaking and you need that airflow for the catalytic converter. Gosh. All right, well, there's really not much we can do about that now. For the time being, we can at least put these tips on and just deal with the fact that it's off. that's going to do us for this video and for this two-part exhaust and heat management video. We've pretty much got it all done. It sounds fantastic. And again, for an AliExpress exhaust system, I think it sounds pretty good. We'll have some more exhaust clips that we're going to add to it. I also have my neighbor trimming my catalytic converter so we can get it fit up really, really nice, since we didn't end up using the, oh no, it's actually way too blurry, but we didn't end up using the kind of the test pipe, the cat delete that was on here. So that's pretty much it. We've got this job done beyond just the catalytic converter trimming that's being done right now. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video and let me know what you think of me getting an AliExpress exhaust system. I'd really like to compare it against what is the real Valvetronic one. You know, there's a lot of rumors on the internet about Valvetronic and what they are or are not doing with exhaust systems. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.